What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the two new upcoming packages, the physical infrastructure package known as the American Jobs Plan, and the next stimulus package known as the American Families Plan, as well as what is going on in the world today. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates. Remember, new videos come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, if you can, give this video a like for us down below. It really helps out our channel. Okay, first up, Vice President Kamala Harris, who has come under a lot of criticism lately over her lack of information and, dare I say, lack of action over the border crisis that she has been put in charge of, has now come into the spotlight and has some strong words for migrants.
And I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris in Guatemala on Monday said she had robust talks with Guatemalan President Alejandro Yamatei on the need to fight corruption and deter undocumented immigration to the United States from the Central American nation, where she had one resounding message for those considering making the dangerous journey.
Do not come. Do not come.
The vice president, in her first foreign trip, said improving living conditions for Guatemalans at home, fighting corruption, narco-trafficking, and smuggling, and encouraging private investment in Guatemala were key to stemming the flow of migrants to the U.S. border.
The president and I discussed a fundamental belief that most people don't want to leave home. They don't want to leave the place where they grew up, where the language they know is spoken, where their culture that they know is present and has been, in this case, for centuries.
Harris said a task force combining resources from the Justice, State, and Treasury departments would work with local prosecutors to punish corrupt actors in Central America. The U.S. government has been pressing the so-called Northern Triangle, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, to do more to tackle corruption in order to improve social conditions for its people and make them less eager to emigrate.
This comes as the Republican governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, vows to arrest anybody coming over the border illegally. He says, quote, "We're about to change the way Texas addresses the challenges on the border, and we're going to start by helping these 34 counties respond by increasing arrests. The law that I'm going to use will be in legal ways in which Texas is going to start arresting everybody coming across the border. Not just arresting them, but because this is not going to be an aggravated trespass, they're going to be spending a half a year in jail, if not a year in jail." Let me know your thoughts on the border crisis of America. How do you think it's going right now? Do you think it's getting any better, or do you think it's getting worse? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Next up, the European Central Bank aligns with the U.S. Federal Reserve, and both are now coming out and saying that to keep stimulus flowing, to get the economies of the world back on track, more stimulus needs to be done. As you can see here, European Central Bank policymakers have all the evidence they need to keep in place their ultra-loose monetary stimulus when they meet on Thursday, thanks to in part their opposite numbers at the Federal Reserve. This mimics what Democrats in Congress want, is more stimulus checks and to pass them quickly. Senator Bernie Sanders says, "Here's a radical idea. Majority rule. Not a single Republican voted to provide a $1,400 direct stimulus payment to the working class or a $3,000 child tax credit." He's inferring here the third stimulus check package that passed by Democrat vote only. Not a single Republican voted yes on that. He says the Senate passed this important legislation with just 51 votes. We must do the same with the American Jobs and the American Families Plan. Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal, who is the leader of the Democratic Progressive Caucus, which is about half of all the Democrats in the House of Representatives, says every single Republican voted against the American Rescue Plan, the third stimulus check package. Do we really think that 10 of them will magically vote for an infrastructure bill? Let's get this done now and on our own, meaning pass it through the reconciliation process. Now, both of these Democratic leaders from the House and the Senate are actually co sponsors or have signers of a fourth stimulus check official bill that has been introduced into Congress for not only a fourth stimulus check, but actually for monthly recurring stimulus checks. Now, this is different than the child tax credits that are monthly stimulus checks that are going to start going out on July 15th of $250 to $300 per month. This is basically just a straight up fourth stimulus check, but monthly for everybody that qualifies for a stimulus check. So the general rule of thumb when it comes to the fourth stimulus check, because we don't know the qualifications yet or the income thresholds, is the most likely scenario is it will be the same as the third stimulus check. So if you got stimulus check 1, 2, and 3, you'll most likely receive a stimulus check number 4, especially stimulus check number 3. Now, I know that there's a lot of people still waiting for those. I literally see your comments every day. Unfortunately, I really don't have a lot of new information on third stimulus check. They are still sending some out, but it's a small number. The majority of third stimulus checks that they're sending out right now are people that filed a 2020 tax return, and the government or the IRS has new information on them and is now sending out like a plus up stimulus check, or they know about you, they know about your income or something like that, and they're sending out a stimulus check. If you haven't filed a 2020 tax return yet, and you're waiting on your third stimulus check, that's probably the best way to get the process going for your third stimulus check. File a 2020 tax return, okay? They're also going to go off your most recent tax returns for the child tax credits, which are monthly stimulus checks that are passed from the third stimulus check package bill, those $250 to $300 per month. Now, that one, the IRS is setting up a website right now that's supposed to be done over the next few weeks where you can log in, and I'll let you know when this is completed and all the information about this when this happens, that you can log in and like give them information, let them know about a new child, new bank account, maybe anything that changed. They're setting up a new website right now. I'll let you know about that. But if you're waiting on third stimulus check or for information for fourth stimulus check, is they go off your most recent tax return most of the time, okay? So the other thing you could do is just call the IRS. If you're waiting on third stimulus check, call the IRS. Now, Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal is the co-sponsor, along with Democratic Representative Rashida Tlaib, for the bill that's introduced in the House of Representatives that is for a one-time $2,000 stimulus check, then followed by $1,000 monthly recurring payments that would go until the pandemic is declared over, plus 1 year. So this bill is because even if the virus was gone tomorrow, the economic recovery is going to take probably a minimum 2, 3, 4 years. Okay, we've seen this in the past with the last economic recovery taking over 4 years. So they want to do monthly stimulus checks, at least from this bill in the House of Representatives, for 1 year after the pandemic is declared over. The bill from the Senate that Senator Bernie Sanders has signed onto, with over half of the Democrats in the Senate, is for a $2,000 monthly stimulus check. However, this bill would only go until the pandemic is declared over by the U.S. government. So it could be 6 months, could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less, but this one is $2,000 per month. Here is Senator Bernie Sanders talking about how well stimulus is working and the need for more stimulus.
Economically, we are also moving forward in the right direction. Millions of jobs have been created in the last few months as the economy reopens all across America. And one of the reasons, in my view, for our success has been the American Rescue Plan that the President signed into law in March. $1,400 direct payment that about 85% of our people received was enormously helpful in easing the anxiety and the pain and the distress that so many people were feeling. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to talk to people who received those checks, but for a family of 4, that was just life-saving. The American Rescue Plan, in a major way, has begun to cut childhood poverty because of the $3,600 child tax credit that we are providing to working families all across America. During the pandemic in my state, and I expect in all of your states, there were long lines of people lining up for emergency food. Hard to believe that's taking place in America. It was. We are making progress in reducing hunger in America. We are expanding, as a result of the American Rescue Plan, health care for people who need it. We're improving educational opportunities. We're providing summer and after-school programs for our kids. The American Rescue Plan provided an extra $300 a week in unemployment benefits to millions of workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. And the American Rescue Plan also is preventing millions of Americans from being thrown out onto the streets because they could not afford their rent. It is also preventing over 1 million workers and retirees from seeing their pensions slashed by up to 60%. In other words, that is a very significant piece of legislation that came at a time when working families in this country desperately needed help. But let us be clear. While we are making progress in protecting working families, an enormous amount of work remains before us. In the richest country in the history of the world, the working families of this country continue to struggle economically, with millions of our people continuing to live in desperation. Sometimes inside the Beltway, we can forget that reality. But literally speaking, 3 blocks from this building, there are people sleeping in tents out on the street, and the desperation exists from one end of this country to the other in every one of our states. Real wages, inflation accounted for wages in America, are lower today than they were 48 years ago. Think about that. Huge explosion in productivity, in technology, average American worker in real wages making less than he or she did 48 years ago. And frighteningly, and the young people know this, the younger generation stand an excellent chance, if we don't turn it around, of having a lower standard of living than their parents. In other words, we're moving in exactly the wrong direction.
So yeah, Senator Bernie Sanders and Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal are probably the 2 leading candidates right now pushing for lots more stimulus, along with Senator Elizabeth Warren, as well as Senator Chuck Schumer, who is the Senate Majority Leader. Now, President Joe Biden, along with White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, have not said no or even really much negative about the next stimulus check. In fact, everything they've said has basically left the door open for Congress to include a forced stimulus check payment if Congress wants to do it. So if Congress, both the House and the Representative, want a forced stimulus check, they can include it in this next stimulus check package, the American Families Plan. In fact, President Joe Biden has also said that the weak jobs report from both April and May, as well as the retail sales report, makes it clear the need for more stimulus. And the good news is that the majority of Congress wants more stimulus. In fact, we have over 80 different lawmakers from the House of Representatives that have come out and publicly speaking about more stimulus checks or even monthly stimulus checks, in addition to 28 lawmakers from the Senate, which is over half of the Democratic lawmakers from the Senate. And this is just the people who have publicly come out and spoken. When all comes time to vote, all the Democrats, typically along with all the Republicans, tend to all vote together. So, in fact, we recently had the U.S. House of Representatives Ways and Means Committee write a letter to President Biden to pass recurring monthly stimulus check payments in this next infrastructure or stimulus package. The House Ways and Means Committee is actually the committee from the House of Representatives that actually writes the bill, writes the wording for stimulus checks in all the past packages and for the next package as well. So they're one of the most influential groups in the U.S. House of Representatives. Now, in addition to Congress, there's a lot of support from the American people as well. Over 2.3 million people have signed a petition on change.org for $2,000 per month stimulus checks every single month to get people and the economy back on their feet. And more people literally sign this every single minute. If you can see this here, I might be in the way, but new people sign this every single minute here. And there's over 2.3 million signatures right now, which is one of the largest petitions that I have ever seen with that many signatures. So this just shows more and more support for another round of stimulus. Now, there's also multiple different things that the Democrats are currently negotiating on for the next stimulus package. They're negotiating on the infrastructure package as well, but that has a good chance of getting done on a bipartisan basis with Republicans. That's called the American Jobs Plan. The next stimulus package, known as the American Families Plan, in my opinion, has probably like a 99% chance that the Democrats are going to pass that through the reconciliation process. When in about 3.5 months, they get the new fiscal year starts and they get a whole nother set of reconciliation cards as well to pass more stimulus packages in the future. So the Democrats have a little bit over a year to pass all their different stimulus provisions that they want to do, including Social Security raises. I have a really good video I did on that about President Biden's raise of Social Security to over $1,300 per month, $16,000 per year, as well as increasing Medicare to have additional Medicare benefits at no additional cost, including hearing, dental, vision, and hearing aids, as well as lower the Medicare eligibility age to age 60 or age 55, along with 2 years of free school. I should say 2 years of free preschool, as well as 2 years of free community college are likely going to be included in this next package and will make community college and preschool very similar to grades kindergarten through 12, where you don't need to pay, and the government basically just funds it through taxpayers and different things. Now, there's a lot of different proposals going on about tax increases. Generally, President Biden is just in favor of some tax increases for the wealthy and for corporations. Now, whether or not he's going to be able to do that is a different story, because there's even some Democrats that are against those type of tax increases. But they have several different creative ways to shore up more money without even raising any more taxes. Like the IRS is actually owed about $1 trillion every single year, and they want to increase enforcement to collect that additional money, as well as $500 billion every single year by just forcing pharmaceutical companies to give the US government and Americans pharmaceutical prescription drugs for the same price that they sell it to for other countries. Those two changes alone, without raising any taxes, could provide $1.5 trillion every single year and could fund stimulus packages, Social Security raises, Medicare raises, and more. Literally $1.5 trillion every single year. That's every year. So you could pass a stimulus package, Social Security raises, Medicare raises every single year. So I'll link you to two very important videos here in just a moment. But if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates. I will keep you up to date on everything, as well as the multiple different stimulus packages and provisions that are coming out here in the near future. So make sure to subscribe down below, click the bell icon to all notifications to get reminder notifications when we go live with new videos, which is every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click this top video here to see about the monthly stimulus checks going out for children in about a month. You can click this bottom video to see stimulus checks going out from states, cities, and counties, and dozens of other stimulus programs you might not know about. And you can click on this video to see President Biden's Social Security raise. So click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.